All right, so what is so special about academic research? I think that this is a really important question that many of us kind of forget about, and we don't really understand what it's actually about. So, if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Maslach. I'm an Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I wanted to pay the favor forward to help you out as much as I possibly can. So this is a really big question, and this is at the heart of what science is really about and what we tend to do. There's really nothing special about academic research per se. There's nothing special about the institutions that sort of build that scientific effort. There's nothing special about any of it. The teaching, the sort of spreading this education, all of that kind of stuff. There's nothing really special about it. However, there's two really, really important things that make us different than any other sort of institution that's out there, whether it being journalism, whether it being just being in your own house, right? And having a conversation with somebody and storytelling with other people, which is a really important part of human behavior in terms of learning about the world. And that's where I'm going to focus on is what are we learning about the world and how are we understanding what is going on? And so the two really important things that academic research does that is distinct or different than what other people do in terms of their everyday life, journalism or learning at home or whatever it is in terms of the way that you learn about the world. And the first thing is that it's the thoughtfulness about how we design and implement our understanding of the world. Right, that's a really critical part of it. There's a lot of ways that we learn about the world, but there's ways that we have learned to learn about the world, right? And that's a really big thing in terms of understanding how the world actually works. And so we call that the scientific method. We call that, and when I talk about the scientific method, I'm talking about it very broadly. I'm talking about more about the community of scientists and researchers and how they understand what is going on, because there's a lot of different ways to understand. It's not just the scientific method that you've been taught. Many people understand the world in many different ways that are in the academic research game, and all of those are valid, and all of those are really amazing ways to think about it, and it requires a great deal of thought. So the second thing that I think is really, really important is the insights that you actually garner from the study or the research that is going on. And this is called, big, broad, scary thing is called theory. But really what we're saying and what we're trying to do is get more people to say, I never thought about that. And the more that you get more people to say, man, I never thought about that. Like, I wish I would have thought about that. And the more sort of the thoughtful of those people, right? Like, so this would be the current, really important people in the field, in the sort of academic field, the current, leaders where they're like, dang it, that was really good. I wish I would have thought about that. When that happens, that's pretty good, right? Like that means that is something that was actually really important. And what we're looking for with that is that it should be really easy. It should be like, those insights that are like, that's like super crazy obvious, like duh. But then you're like, why didn't we study this? Like we didn't, this is kind of like, like when you get to that moment, when you look back and you're like, wait a minute, we didn't study this? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, when it's like that and everybody is like, man, I wish I would have thought about studying that particular thing, that is when you get an amazing insight in this world. And so I think what we need to sort of forget about and we need to drop, it is not about proving things. It's not about going through and sort of I'm saying that I'm right and you're wrong. I think that that is like a vital, that happens. It's sort of political nature of science that happens, but we need to stop thinking about sort of proving things, because we can't prove anything in this world. We really can't. There's really nothing in this world that we can say like, hey, this is the way that the world works. But it's really thinking about how can I tell a story where many people, are kind of like, yeah, I kind of get it. And the more that the smarter people say, man, that's not a pile of crap. The more that is, the more that it's like everybody realizes that that is not a pile of crap of an idea, and the more that you sort of, diffuse the idea across many different people, the more impactful that research actually is. Because most people are pretty doubting, and that's good. That means that scientific effort is actually working. And we are very, very skeptical of what other people say and what they write. And so the more that you get of people saying that this is insightful, the better it actually is. So those are the two really important things. That's really it. That's all we're looking for. There's really no magic towards what the difference between academic research and something else actually is. It's really the thoughtfulness that goes into designing the study, and then also what is called quote unquote theory in terms of theoretical contributions. All right, with that, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day.